thank you so much for joining us. And as all of you probably know, this is our series, our Heart to Heart series, where I like to talk to people that I have met in the industry, people that I feel, wow, people should know about this person. And typically, it's people that I've come to know, like, and trust, and that they bring value to the table, and that I always feel that they have something important that they need to share. And I feel that this is a great opportunity to share their story with all of you so you can learn about them, what they do, and see how what they do can really help you and your family. So today we have such a treat. I am so honored to have Fran Sexton here. She is the owner and founder of Senior Solutions with Fran, and it is a fantastic company that is really there to help all of you, especially when you're looking into Medicare. We had Fran come to our office personally to share her knowledge and her know how. And I'll share with you, everybody, there was so much I did not know. I always thought I had an idea of how Medicare works, but she is the expert. She knows what she's talking about, and she does it in such a way that you understand it, you can relate to it, and you can see why it's such an important topic, but you can also see why you need an expert because it really wasn't that easy. And so, Fran, thank you for joining us today. I'm really so happy to be here with you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Christine, same back at you. I appreciate you having me on. So thank you so much. And it's been a pleasure getting to know you as well.
Oh, it's so good. But, this is such an important topic, not just, overall about learning about Medicare, but really, the times have been changing and I've been seeing a lot of it in the news. And it's such an important area that people really need to get a good grasp about. But I think my first question is, Fran, is, how did you get into this area of work? What had you decide to focus on this?
So thank you for the question. So really how I got into it, I think I've shared with you along the way a little bit as we've gotten to know each other is my mom. My mom started getting older and she got sick and she was on her own. She was by herself. My dad had passed away years ago in 2002. And me and my two sisters who lived in the area had to start helping her and go over to her house and she was on her own. And as we dived into solutions on what was going to be best scenarios for her from a medical perspective and people who were going to take care of her, we needed to take a look at that. And it was really Medicare. What does Medicare cover? What does it not cover? And what um what programs we needed to put in place to make sure that she was taken care of. So that's how I got started in it. And I'm a middle-aged woman, so are my sisters, very smart, and looking into this process was mind-boggling. And that they expect 80-year-old people to be able to understand it is unbelievable to me. So that's how I got into it initially.
I love that. I've always found that when we have a personal connection to an area that we're starting to learn, we learn it quickly and we learn it very well because of that personal drive, because of what you needed to know for your mom. And I can only imagine that it might have been daunting when you started to get into it,
Oh,
Fran.
it was crazy. It
Oh,
was crazy. And I agree with you. Like we had to like jump in and get to know it and read about it and look up things and see all the mail that she was receiving. So it was a daunting task. But at the end of the day, I just felt like there's a need out there for people who need some guidance in the direction that they need to go and what's provided to them.
now, since you've been since the day you decided, like, since I'm learning this for my mom, and now we fast forward today, have there been a lot of changes in that whole Medicare sphere? Like, how there been big things that you feel really have made a change that maybe people don't even know about?
So in general, Medicare plans change on an annual basis, no matter what plan you're on. There's, carriers in different states along the way. But, just to name a few, you have Aetna, you have Humana, you have Cigna, you have United Healthcare, you have at least 6 or 7 Medicare plans. They change every year, but they're minor changes. But the prescription drug plans also have kind of played a part in the last year or two with the change in our government and who's up there. And not that I'd like to get into it, but you have to be prepared to it and be able to direct your clients accordingly so that they're getting the most benefit out of their plans that they can.
Wow, it's amazing. And so in general, can you just describe your how you help people? Like what is the big thing that you do to help people who, especially if they're looking at Medicare? I can only imagine the overwhelm. You're like, how do you help?
So, Medicare, as we all know, at the age of 65, we are all entitled to it if we have worked 40 quarters. 40 quarters equates to 10 years. And it doesn't have to be consecutive. I started working when I was 16 up until the age that I am now. I've definitely put in 10 years and paid into it. So at 65, I'm going to be able to apply for Medicare. So what I really initially like to do is educate people on what their choices are, because there are choices out there and everybody's circumstances are different depending on doctor care, or if they've had illnesses that have come up in the past and they're afraid of them coming up in the future, and what that looks like for them. From a financial, Medicare doesn't cover everything. It covers a lot. And I think we are very genuinely, I think it is a great program. So I help them understand, for first and foremost, about what their options are out there.
Right. I mean, I think that's the hard part because believe it or not, I mean, I didn't really realize the nuances with the options. And it is confusing if you're not doing it all the time and then you're just trying to dive into it. So, is there resources that you have put together for families so they can better understand this?
Um, it's hard to, because I don't want to overwhelm people, because the education behind it, and if anybody's paying attention when they turn 65 with the commercials that are out there, it is an overwhelming process. So I give them the basics, right? You have A, B, C, and D for Medicare Advantage. You also have Medicare supplements. I come up with a straightforward bullet point of the initial, but then I have to dive deep when I meet with people and talk about what their certain circumstances lead me to be able to provide them a direction that would benefit for them.
I love that. To me, this is one of the big things that I think that makes you different from others that may offer this service, Fran, that you really have an uncanny way to explain the complicated in a very simple way. I mean, when you came and chatted with my group and explain the different parts and how this works and to be mindful of this. In another setting, I have to say, I think we would have all been overwhelmed, but you did it in such a clear way. I think that's one of your big superpowers. Like you make it very simple, you make it easy to understand and to focus on, well, what's important for me and why I need this, that, and the other thing. I think that is really good. Is there anything else that you think makes your organization different from others that might provide the same type of service?
So I would say that the one-on-one, right? Like I have clients that call me all day long, year round. I am your person. Like if you have to call, if you were to take a phone call and sign up for a plan over the phone or call somebody on a commercial, it's going to be specific to a plan. But when you have me, I'm going to be able to. I'm a broker, so I'm partnered with all of the carriers out there. I'm going to do the best I can for my clients. I'm going to advise them on what I think they should do. They don't have to, but if they want to know what the benefits are that I would put in place, being a specialist at it, I would give them that suggestion. So I feel like the one-on-one and the ongoing, if they have a claim that something comes up, they can call me and I'm going to direct them accordingly. I will get on a three-way with their carrier and call and then plug them in so that we can talk, because a lot of times carriers don't call me or won't talk to me directly. But I'll do the extra mile and I'll sit on the phone for a half hour, wait for somebody to get a hold of me, and I'll speak to them. I'll bring my clients in and they'll be able to answer their questions, and then we'll go from there. But they get a one-on-one really, and throughout, whenever they need me, I'm around.
I love what jumped out while you were saying this. Two things. One is that you're a broker that has availability of all different types of companies. Like you're not just cookie cutter, like this is where I work and this is what the product you need. You have at your disposal an array of different products that could fit depending on the person. So at least then they know you're really looking out for them. You're looking at what's the best product. It's not just, the one place that you're working with. Like you get to see a whole library of things, which I think is fantastic and such a great service to families. And number two, you are hands on, Fran. You are hands
Hands on,
on. Yeah,
hands
I
on.
think that is wonderful because, when you deal with this area, I do think people are anxious. They're older. And to know that you're the face, they're going to talk to you, and that you take control of it, because I'm sure they get stressed out, about what needs to get
Oh, of
done.
course, anxious the whole bit, but I hold their hands. I go visit them if they're close by. I will visit them if I can on off hours on weekends. So I try to make them feel as comfortable as possible about the process. We can always undo it as well. So they're not stuck and they can't, they're not making a phone call where I never answer. They will, if, hey, they like change something and then they want to change back, I'm all for it. So
That's fantastic.
I will help them do that. Yeah.
Are there areas like how what's your radius of who you can serve, Fran, basically?
So right now I'm licensed in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. I am going to move and add 3 other states to my repertoire. And the radius of what I do, and Medicare is my priority, helping people in Medicare. But I will tell you there is another subsidiary part of what I do, which is critical illness, right? So people are living longer. People are much more conscious of their health nowadays and what that looks like for them. Whether they're retiring at 65 or 69 or 72, and they're looking at that from a financial whatever that looks like for them. So I do help with a couple other things: critical illness, right? Cancer, heart attack, and stroke policies. I also help with hospital indemnity policies. So if somebody's afraid of what their care is going to look like long term, I can help them with that as well.
That's fantastic. And when you're dealing with families in this situation, and I don't I don't necessarily think they're always in crisis, but it is emotional. How do you take care of you, Fran? Like how do you ground yourself? Because I can see, because you care a lot, that it's easy to get swept away, and maybe, you need to get grounded. I'm curious, like, what are things that you do to, to get
So I live at the shore. You live at the shore, right? I go for a walk, right? So I've incorporated walking at 5 in the morning up at the boardwalk in Point Pleasant. And let me tell you, the sunrises are amazing. I used to be a runner. I would love to start running again. My daughter signed up for a half marathon. So I like exercise to kind of, you know, what do you say, to get out that energy that I need to get out. And then I focus on my clients. I'll be honest with you. My kids are at an age where they take care of themselves. So I'm at a point in life where I felt like I could reevaluate um, and reinvent myself I'm fairly new into the industry, 2 years into the industry, but I love it. I genuinely think I help people, and I feel like I have a lot to offer. And again, I have the time to do it. I'm not,
I love that.
chasing 5-year-olds anymore.
I love
They're
that.
yeah.
So I
So
love running. I'm not fast, but I
me
just
neither.
love, right? I just feel that I always joke that running is my therapy because, you work things out, or even if I don't want to think about anything, by the time I'm done, no matter how, even if it's a short run, there is that dopamine hit. There's something that happens where I feel like, okay, I can figure this out. Okay, but
Yeah, and it's about nature too. I'll be honest with you. Like, so when I go up sometimes at 5 and the sun rises at like 5:27, 5:28, 5:34, and I've taken some really great shots in Point Pleasant, and I try to time myself, and I'm like, I didn't want to stop to look at the picture, but it made pictures, but I'm like, you know what? You have to stop to take a picture once in a while of the beauty of the natural sunrise in the mornings. So it's, for me, it's also mentally, um, gives me this mental release.
that's right. And it's funny, I kind of have evolved as a runner where it used to be in the early days, I would time myself and there was a specific pace I needed to get. I'll
Yes.
share with you these days, Fran, I could care less. I could care less what the number says, as long as I can get from point A to my proposed point B. I'm game. But I'll share with you a funny story. So when I was into that, got to keep my pace. I
Yeah.
remember I was training for something, and I really had to finish what I was doing. And at the same time, my daughter and my niece and nephew were visiting, and they were pretending to cheer me on. And then at one point, one of them fell, and I feel bad till this day. I did not stop to help them. I said, I got to make my time. I got one more minute to finish. And I told my daughter,
Uh,
go help your cousin, and she was fine. But we talk about that with the family, like, oh my God, mom had to make her time. She didn't
yeah.
even stop when poor Sabrina fell.
Oh, I love that story, but it's true, right?
I know.
Once in a
Like
while,
your
you just need.
mindset, right?
I've learned, agreed. Like I'm a little older now, so now I've learned to just stop and appreciate what's in front of me.
That's it. Just stop and
Yeah.
appreciate. And I think that's the value of exactly what you bring when you help your families, because I've seen it, that you really do care, Fran. I mean, again, when you were chatting with my team, but also, you and I belong with other groups, and I've seen you, and you're very sincere. And I'm not
Oh,
just saying this because we're here, but you do take the time to get to know who you're chatting with, and you're not just spouting out, oh, you need part A, part C, blah, 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 whatever you need. You're really finding out what makes sense for them and what they're comfortable with. You and I are in the service industry, and there are times we have an idea what's a good solution, but it has to fit for that person. They have to understand it, because it doesn't make sense for us to propose something and they don't really know what it is and they don't understand how to use it, and then they have no understanding of why it was good. But you seem to take that time, and that I really think that's one of your big things that makes you different from other people who service this, because, well, I really think because of your background,
thank you.
right? Because
So
I know
that's
you've
thank
said
you,
it to me
and
before that oftentimes you think about how it was with your mom, and so I know you carry that out when you're helping your families, thinking like, this is someone's mom, this is someone's dad, so
yeah.
let's figure
And
this out.
sometimes they're by themselves. So, again, I give them comfort. So I appreciate that. And I do take that to heart. I
Yeah.
genuinely want to help them. Nobody has to move forward. I make suggestions based on their circumstances. And that's where we are. I don't, they're by no stretch in the imagination, do they have to move forward with anything. And I'm a lifelong partner for them in that industry, in that space, that they can always call on me if they have questions.
So, if we're looking in the future, Fran, and I love what you're doing currently and why you're doing it. But how do you see your group, in the next 3 to 5 years? Are there goals that you're looking to do to achieve?
So yeah, that's a great question. So thank you for that. Like I said, I'm genuinely trying, I'm getting started 2 years into it, but I would love to grow it and put people under me and be able to advocate, people who are genuinely want to do the same thing that can help other people, and mentor them and educate them on what that looks like and why that industry is so important. It's so important. I can't tell you enough how important I think it is to our future and people's future. I just think people are living longer. They pay attention more to their health and what that looks like. So I would love to grow my business to have a few more people under me and be able to advocate to a lot more people out there in the world.
Oh, and I can see that, Fran, because you definitely have a message and you definitely have this drive to educate. Because I also don't think there's enough information out there. I think if you look, but I don't think it's as easy, and it's really not easy to understand. Like there are times I would have, because I'll have a client that chats about what they have, but they're having struggles with it. And then I'll, on a whim, I say, well, let me see if I can help them. And I'll look it up and I'll be like, oof, I said, this is a little hard. I wouldn't know. But now we know they should really just chat with you, because, you're just well versed. You'll save them time. You've been there. You've helped so many families. So you'll be able to explain to them why such and such makes sense for them. So I love that. I love that you do. You definitely have a big mission. So, Fran, really appreciate you spending time and sharing your story and your drive of what you do. How can people get in touch with you?
So I'm on Gmail. My email is it's Sexton, my last name, Sexton, F as in my first name, Francis, 123 at gmail.com. And then you can always go to seniorsolutionswithfran.com and get to my website, and you can fill out a very, basic information, and I will respond to your email with any questions or answers that you might need.
Fantastic. And everyone, we're going to put all of Fran's information also here. There'll be a link at the end of this, so you'll be able to get in touch with her anytime. And so, Fran, really, is there a place where they could meet you, or like how does it meet? So if they wanted to chat with you, I guess they would reach out to you and you would chat with them by phone first, right?
I would absolutely go on phone. If they are close by in the proximity of New Jersey, I will definitely drive to them. And that's my major hub, is I'm licensed in New Jersey. So I will try and make a visit to the home so that they can meet me and it's face to face. Outside of states, other states, obviously it's going to be on a Zoom call if they're comfortable with it. Not, some people that I deal with aren't tech savvy. So I make it as comfortable as I can for them, and they direct me on how they would like to communicate. So
Oh,
yeah.
that's wonderful. I think that's just wonderful. So everyone, thank you again for joining us. I think all of us can agree that this was time well spent. The information that you probably heard was valuable. It'll continue to be valuable. And I encourage all of you, if you have any questions, to please reach out to Fran. She can share her knowledge. She's so generous with her time, and you shouldn't feel intimidated about what she knows. She'll explain it to you in such easygoing way that you'll feel comfortable and you'll make good decisions. Fran, thank you so much for being here. This was
Christine,
awesome.
I can't tell you how much. Thank you so much for the time. I appreciate the questions. I really genuinely appreciate you. So thank you.
Oh, it was great. Thank you. And thanks everyone for joining us. And stay tuned for another episode of the Heart to Heart series. Thank you again.
Thanks. Thank you.